welcome. Thanks for joining us. You can see we've got people from sort of all across Europe and further afield. So those in Malaysia, Greece, Serbia, everywhere else. Thanks for joining us. Hope you find today's session useful. My name is Adam Self, and I've been Supply Marketing Executive with Distrelec for 2 years. Today's Crimping Masterclass webinar will be delivered by Mark Schneider from KNIPEX. Mark has 17 years crimping experience, so he's a real expert in this field. If you have any questions, please submit them using the Q&A function, and we will answer as many as we can throughout, and at the end as well, we'll leave a little bit of time for further questions. We also have an exclusive promotion that we'd like to share with you at the end of the webinar, so stick around for this, and we'll share that with you as well. Before I hand over to Mark, just want to remind everyone that we are recording this session, and then we can use it for sort of future purposes. Over to you, Mark.
Excellent, Adam. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm Mark, and Adam told me that we have more than 500 attendees from 43 different countries all over the world. For example, Albania, Belarus, Belgium, Croatia, Estonia, Finland, Greece, Moldavia, Netherlands, San Marino, and many others, and also from the US, New Zealand, Russia, Brazil, and India. Wow, that's amazing. And to be honest, I didn't expect that. So thank you very much for joining the webinar. The target for today is that I explain you our different crimping class series, and I show you how to find the right crimping tool for the right crimp connector. In this 45-minute webinar, we cannot go very deeply into the topic of crimping technology. So we only scratch the face of crimping technology today. Okay, then I change into the PowerPoint presentation. Some few words to KNIPEX. In 2020, KNIPEX produced nearly 13 million pliers in 2020. We have more than 900 different varieties of pliers, and we deliver different industries like electricians, agriculture, aviation, sanitary, construction, automotive, craftsmanship, and so on and so on. And we have here in Wuppertal-Kronenberg more than 50,000 square meters production area, and more than 1,400 employees working here at KNIPEX in Wuppertal. We need more than 600 tons of steel per month. That means every day a big truck, a big lorry comes here in the company and bring us the raw material. And we only have one production site, and this is here in Wuppertal-Kronenberg, and we deliver customers in 105 countries all over the world. Okay, let's start. This here shows our KNIPEX world of crimping tools. So we have, next to the simple crimping pliers and normal hand tools, we have automatic crimping tools, and we also offer crimping tools which are battery powered. All these crimping tools that you see here in this foil, they have a so-called integral lock. That means you have to close the pliers completely with your hands, and then they open automatically. This ensures on the completion of the crimping process. This is a requirement of different norms and standards, but you can be sure all these tools that you can see here, they have this integral lock. I show this to you later in the camera. But now I will show you our crimp series. For example, we have here the Preciforce series. Preciforce means we have 8 different type of crimping pliers for 8 different type of connectors. For example, one plier for insulated connectors, one for the not insulated, one for the plug connectors, and for example for coaxial connectors. These crimp dies are not changeable. So you buy one tool for only one connector. Then we have the crimp pliers for two-hand operated, which are for two-hand operated crimping process. They are a little bit larger, so the hands are longer than the Preciforce, and here we have 10 different crimping pliers. The Multi-Crimp is a special tool with a fast crimping change magazine. You don't have to change the crimping dies with an additional tool. You can only do this with a quick changer magazine. I'll show this to you later in the camera. And this includes 5 crimp dies for N-ferrules, for insulated, non-insulated, and so on. But they are only available with this 5 crimp dies. And then we have the crimp system plier. This is an empty crimp plier that you purchase, and we offer from KNIPEX 50 changeable profiles and 10 locators. And in the background, we offer more than 1,400 different and special crimp profiles for the crimp system plier. So crimp system plier is the most flexible system with more than 1,400 crimp dies in the background. What you see here is a selection of connectors and terminals. For example, we have N-ferrules, insulated terminals. We have the heat shrink tubing connectors, the non-insulated terminals, the open plug connectors, fiber optic connectors, Western connectors, data connectors, coaxial F connectors, turn contacts, roll contacts, deep supply, and so on and so on. So this is just a small overview of the world of crimp connectors. There are more than 1.5 million different crimp connectors in the world. Yeah, and each crimp connector has a compatible crimp form. Here presented in a simplified way. We have a hexagon crimp, a square crimp, a B crimp or fold crimp, W crimp, indent crimp, 4-indent crimp, oval crimp, trapezoid crimp, and an overlap crimp, and an O crimp. And as a user, you need to know which crimp form fits to which connector. For example, N-ferrules, we have the possibility to crimp hexagon crimp, a square crimp, or a trapezoid crimp. Later, I explain you which crimp form you need for which application. Insulated connectors, maybe here you see a ring terminal and a butt connector. Here we use an oval crimp form, and for the non-insulated connectors, use, for example, an indent crimp or a W crimp. Sometimes depends which type of connector we have. With standard, you can also use hexagon crimp. But watch out, maybe you overpress the connector and then you get these sharp edges on the sides. And for the non-insulated connectors, the open plug connectors like this here, you need a B crimp or a fold crimp. Yeah, some few words to the crimp quality. The 3 pictures above show an optimal crimp connection. That means the dimensions of the cable and the connector and the setting of the crimp plier is optimal. We call it gas tight. Gas tight means all the individual single wires have been pressed on in a homogeneous way. In the 3 pictures below, the cable does not stick to the connector or the wrong tool was used. You see too many spaces between the single wires. So this is not good. The 3 pictures above show a perfect gas-tight crimp connection. Yeah, consequences with a non-standard crimp. I admit these pictures are tough, but it shows the risk of having a bad crimp connection in safety critical areas. That means moisture or oxygen penetrates the system. The risk of contact heating due to the oxidation between individual wires increases insulation resistance. We have a bigger resistance, means heating of the crimping point is possible. Yeah, you use energy, you have a lower power transfer, we have a risk of fire, and of course, customer complaints. So that was it. Now we start with the use of the different crimping pliers. In this presentation, you will find the KNIPEX article numbers in red and the Distrelec article numbers in blue. So here you see which crimping plier you can use for the insulated connectors, no matter if you have a ring connector, a butt connector, or what else. All these connectors which are insulated can use by these different type of crimping tools, and all these tools have an oval crimp form, crimp shape. Some words to the connectors. There are many types of insulated connectors in the world. all these characteristics also have an effect on the crimping result. In the picture on the left, you see a so-called pitch, pre-insulated diamond grip connector, and that means the aluminum or the metal tube is here nearly at the end or at the top of the connector, and the former DIN connectors, they have only plastic here. And this is a big difference between the different insulated connectors. Also, the material is different. Some connectors are made of PVC, nylon, vinyl, and the material terminal is from copper or brass. Maximum working temperature is between 75 degrees, 105, and 125. And the maximum electric rating is 300 volts or 600 volts. KNIPEX has all these standard connectors in its range. These are matched to our crimping tools. So this table you can download after the webinar. So you will get an additional email where you can download all these informations and also the PDF of this presentation, which I show you. Yeah, I'm sure you are all professionals, but questions keep coming in about the correct use of our crimping pliers. And I will now show you how to crimp insulated connectors with pliers from the Prizifor series. So I changed from the presentation to the camera. So this here is the Prizifor series. It's the 975236, and this is here the integral lock. So you see now the handles are open, the tool is open. Now I close it, and now maybe you hear the click. It's like a ratchet. We have to close the handles completely, then it opens automatically, and this is the so-called integral lock and ensures a completely standard norm crimp. There is an emergency release on these pliers. For example, here the Prizifor has here in the handle a small switch, and when you feel you cannot crimp further, so it's closed, then you can open the switch, or can move the switch in this direction, and then the pliers opens automatically. So this here is a normal insulated connector. Blue is 1.5 to 2.5 square millimeter. I put in here in this way, so I have the plier in my right hand. I can read the letters, so that means this is the front of the tool. At the back, you see it's very close to the edge of the back of the crimping plier, and in the front, depends on the length the connector looks out of the plier. I have this cable here, 2.5. I put it into the connector, turn it a little bit, and then I squeeze. You see it does not open. Open it, and that was it. See an oval crimp, and here, I hope you can see it. There's a control stamp. You see these two dots, and these two dots means you crimped in the right position with 2.5 square millimeter. Yeah, everything is fine. This was the Prizifor series. We have 8 different types of crimp tools, and all these, you see here in a handle, there is a spring, and here in the head, there's also a spring. These springs are available as a spare part. Okay, then we go on with the PowerPoint presentation. One moment. I have to click here a couple of times. Good. Problem solving. Connector loosens from cable after crimping. What are the reasons? The reasons can be wrong plier, wrong crimp nest, but I think you are all specialists, so it will not happen. Also, problem is that we have undefiled cables on the market. That means the cable manufacturer, they want to save money because copper is expensive. And instead of a 6 square millimeter cable, we have only a 5.4 millimeter cable. So underfilled cables are a problem in the market. And cheap Asian plugs are also Samsung problem also here. The manufacturers, they want to save money, and yeah, they want to save everything, so you get cheap quality from the deliverer. Proper solution: use insulated connectors from big companies. Yeah, like I want to say like KNIPEX or from Distrelec. These have been adapted to our crimp form, and also here you will get a list where we can see our article numbers, which fitches to which crimp profile. So please, if you feel, if you have the problem that the connector loosens from the cable, then check your cables and check the quality of your plugs. If you use insulated shrink tubing connectors, these connectors are fixed on the cable with hot air, for example, then you cannot use the normal oval crimp for insulated connectors. We have to use a different shape, like this here. This oval is a little bit, I would say, smaller, and it's not possible to use these heat shrinking connectors with a normal oval crimp. So again, I show you the oval crimp for the heat shrinking connectors. Here you see the crimp shape is a little bit different to the number 36. Again, this here, so one moment. This here is the heat shrinking connector, and this here shows a normal insulated connector. And now we want to crimp the heat shrinking connector. I put it here in this area here. So 1.5, 2.5. So, and I put the cable in, turn it a little bit, and then I press, and that was it. And this is the crimp profile for the heat shrinking connectors. Okay. Okay, more crimp dies, crimp profiles for insulated connectors. We have two new crimp profiles in our program. So the article number 974906PI. This is a crimp die for the pitch connectors, but also suitable for the normal connectors, I would say, from 0.5 to 6 square millimeter. The difference between the normal crimp die with the oval crimp is that this crimp die is a little bit, the width is bigger, I would say. And on the right side, you see the crimp die 974921. They are not yet in the Distrelec website because they are too new. This is for the uninsulated connectors with a sawn crimp, and for the insulated connectors from 0.1 to 0.5 square millimeters. So for the very, very small connectors. And these two crimp profiles fits in the crimp system plier. Now we come to the uninsulated connectors. They are called tubular cable ferrules, normal connector, press cable ferrules, crimp terminals. There are many, many different namings of these type of non-insulated connectors. There are also different standards and norms on the market. KNIPEX offers Crimp Tools for non-insulated connectors from 0.1 to 25 square millimeters. And here you can see which type of Crimp Tools you can use for the non-insulated connectors. Normally up to 10, we use a normal sawn crimp, and sometimes depends on the plier. For bigger terminals, we use a W crimp. Yeah, here you see what happens when you press a non-insulated connector with a hexagon crimp. Hexagon crimp is only for connectors for these two crimp standards. So DIN 46235 and DIN 46267, but they start from 6 square millimeter. So you see here on the right, they're called, which I say this is overpressed. This is a very sharp wing, and this is not good. Maybe here with this sharp edge, you destroy or you damage the cables that are lying around the cable connector. Please, for this connector, use W or SON crimp. And now I show you how to crimp with the two-hand operated tool. So, here, this is the 975203 for the non-insulated connectors from 0.5 to 10 square millimeters. Also here you see you have this integral lock. This here is a 10 square millimeter connector. And here I put it in the last crimp shape. So this way. So I put the cable in. So and now what you can do, because it's 10 square millimeter, it's a thick connector. You can use both hands, or you can push this lower handle on the table, and you can use your body weight. So very easy. This was in principle not insulated connectors crimped with two-hand operated tool. And here you see up to 2.5 square millimeter, we have this normal SON crimp, and from 4 it starts to have a W crimp. So that was it. Now we continue with the one moment with the non-insulated connectors. But at first, sometimes we have questions from end users. Crimping of solid contacts or solid conductors, solid wires. Is this possible? You see here on the right side, this is solid cable. I know in not many countries are these solid cable used, more often in Western Europe. But yes, with a W crimp or SON crimp, you can also crimp these type of solid cables. This is possible. Now we come to the non-insulated blade terminal sockets. Difficult word, as I said. There are difficult namings, and it depends on the country where you live. And with this type of plug, you can do the most wrong. Because we have here standard connectors, like you see here in the picture, or non-standard connectors. You see here the three numbers, 2.8, 4.8, and 6.3. This is the width of the connector, of the plug. And if you see these three, I would say these three measurements here on the packaging of the connector or in the data sheet of the connector, you can be sure that this is a standard connector, and here you can use all these different type of crimping tools. So these crimping tools with this article number, you can use for connectors with a plug width of 2.8, 4.8, and 6.3 up to 6 square millimeter. Yeah, here this is a small overview of manufacturers or producers of connectors and terminals like GE, Tyco, Harting, Molex, Amphedol, Finis Contact, Multi-Contact. And the challenge is to find the right tool for this type of non-standard connectors. Each manufacturer uses different dimensions. Therefore, each series you need a crimp insert that is customized to the geometry of the connector. These connectors here in the picture looks from the crimp shape very similar to the DIN or standard connectors, but the geometry and the measurements and the thickness of the metal sheet is different to the standard connectors. And here for this you need a special crimp die. And for this we have the Crimp system plier. That means 1,400 solutions in one system. These crimp dies that you see here, you can put in the normal Crimp system plier, in the normal hand tool, in the eCrimp. This is a battery-powered crimping tool, and in the crimp machine from our sister company, Rennsteig. Rennsteig is our sister company, belongs to KNIPEX. Rennsteig is located in the eastern part of Germany, and KNIPEX is in the western part of Germany. And Rennsteig is also a distributor of Distrelec. So when you search for Rennsteig, you will find several different types of crimping tools. On the left picture, you see the article number for the Crimp System plier, which you purchase in an empty plastic box. So the box is empty and has shapes for the crimp dies. Here is the Crimp System plier, article number from Distrelec, and article number 9743 with an A. This means you purchase only the crimping tool without the plastic box. Yeah, and KNIPEX offers more than 50 standard dies and more than 10 positioning devices. I'll show you later what it means. And Rennsteig offers more than 1,400 crimp profiles for the Crimp System plier. Yeah, for more details, you can check out our website, www.knipex.com, and you can search for 9749 Starlet. And you see here these locators you put on the back of the crimping plier, and this is more safer if you have to crimp more than, I would say, 10 or 20 or 100 crimps a day. As I said before, you cannot put the single crimp dies from the Crimp System plier in the Prezi-Force or in a two-hand operated crimping tool. Difference here is the movement. Prezi-Force and two-hand operated tool, they have a V-shaped movement, which is not parallel, and the Crimp System plier has a parallel movement of the crimp dies, which is sometimes much more better if you crimp these type of open plug connectors. So now this is the point where I'll show you how to crimp this small connectors here. So this is 2.8 connectors. 2.8 is the width of the connector, and I have here a 0.75 cable. This here is the Crimp System plier. You see here it's parallel, nearly parallel, and Prezi-Force is V-shaped. And for this reason, you cannot put this crimp die into the Prezi-Force. This here is the locator for the connector. So I have a 2.8 connector, and I put it here into the locator of the, sorry, again. So now the connector is fixed in the locator, and it's directly in the right position for the crimping operation. So now I can put easily the wire in the crimp connector. You see, I press, open it, and this is a nearly 100% perfect crimp. This here is the wire crimp. This produces the pull-out force, and this here is the insulation crimp. Insulation crimp does not go too deep into the insulation. This is only a protection against some mechanical forces. So this is the crimp process with the Crimp System plier with a locator. You can also dismantle this locator. It's not a must, it's an option. And for example, here, this is a normal simple hand tool without integral lock. This has here a cutting device. You can strip the cable here in this way. So it's a very precise stripping of the cable. We damage no single wires if you press not too hard. So now I have here a connector with a width of 4.8. If you feel the ring here is too big, too large for the crimp profile, then you can press it here in this area and make it a little bit more smaller for the insulation crimp. So now I put the connector inside the crimp profile, so like this. So I put the wire in. Oh no, I make it too close. So take another one. Sorry, but this is live. So again, here the ring is a bit too hard, too wide. I put it in the wire crimp. So now I press and see, nearly perfect. And now I crimp the insulation crimp. Oh, I'm a little bit nervous. So, okay, now you see also nearly 100% perfect crimp. On the other side, you see there is a crimp profile for the insulated connectors. Also here, I showed you fast how it works. I put the connector in this side. So put the cable in, turn it a little bit, and now I press, and also this is enough to have a good crimp connection. So this is an option. You can use these professional crimp tools with an integral lock, or you can also use for, I would say, for not high quality crimp operations, these type of manual crimping tools. Timo, have you ever any questions?
Not so far.
Okay. Okay, then I continue with the presentation. Give me a second. Okay, after the webinar, you get a download link for this so-called Crimp Matrix. This Crimp Matrix will help you to find the right tool for your different type of connectors. This is really self-explaining. For example, we have here the picture of the insulated terminals and the colors and the cable size. And here you see which crimp tools, which article numbers fits to which crimp size. Red means we have no solution for this cable size, and green means, yeah, this tool is suitable for this type of connectors. This is a sheet for the normal standard connectors. This is a sheet for the end ferrules. You see here the automatic crimping tools, article number, and the crimp profile, four-square crimp, hexagon crimp, trapezoid crimp, and so on and so on. And the last sheet is for, I would say, for special connectors. For example, you see here the microfit series from Molex. You see, you will have these two article numbers. This is the crimp die for the crimp system plier, or a small parallel crimp plier 975425. So this is a sheet for special connectors for the crimp system plier. So again, we have a crimp connector. You don't know which type of crimp plier you have to use. So you have the possibility, use the Crimp Matrix. Maybe you find then the right crimp tool. Look at the packaging or measure the connector risk, 2.8, 4.8, 6.3. You can be sure that it's a standard connector, standard contact for our crimp ties, for example, 97, 52, 33. It is not, if it's not a standard connector. In this case, we need the contact manufacturer, Molex or TE or something else, and the article number, the pin number of the connector. And of course, the cable cross section. A link to the manufacturer of the pin would be okay. Unfortunately, a photo or picture is in most cases not enough to find the right crimp solution, crimp die. If you don't have any information of the connector, you can send us minimum 10 samples of the connector plus the cable that you use, and then we will try it out if we have special crimp die for the crimp system plier. So this is a way how to find the right crimp tool for the right crimp connector. So now we come to the KNIPEX Multi-Crimp. Multi-Crimp is a 5 pliers in one, a universal tool for electricians which are working every day on different construction sites. For example, we have only one tool instead of 5 tools. This tool is for 80% of all the crimp applications. You see in a picture, we can crimp the non-insulated connectors from 0.5 to 10, insulated connectors 0.5 to 6, the open plug connectors from 0.5 to 6 square millimeter, and the end-ferrules from 0.5 to 25. This is possible with the multi-crimp. And again, the crimp dies of the crimp system plier are not compatible with the multi-crimp. This is important for you. So I show you now how it works. So this here is the multi-crimp. This here is the quick changer magazine. You can put it here on your belt if you want, or put it in the tool case. Important is when you change the crimp dies, like this here, use this switch, which is located here inside of the handles. Please use this when you want to change the crimp dies. This makes sure that the head has the right place, the right form to change the crimp dies. If not, maybe you will squeeze here inside the parts and you damage the magazine. So for changing the crimp dies, please use this switch here, which is located inside of the handles. And you see it's very fast to change the single crimp dies. Yeah, you choose here the red disc, hold the button into the disc, and now the tool is loaded. And if you want to change it, press it in, it makes click, then pull, and then the plier is empty. And again, here you can change the crimp die. And now I'll show you how it works without locator, because for this tool and for the crimp, for the Prezi-Force, you cannot purchase the locator. It's only possible for the crimp system plier. Here we have to fix it by hand. So I have here the connector. I have a 1.0. Sorry, again, this is 2.5. So I put it here in the last crimp profile by hand. And you feel there is a border, and you cannot pull because there is the crimp shape is not parallel. So this is the reason why we have to put it in the right hand. You read the letters, this is the front, and then from the back you put the connector in. You fix it connector, and now you can crimp in this way, and yeah, that was it. So this is how the multi-crimp work. For me, a perfect solution. If you work only with these standard connectors, very fast and very light, because you have only one plier for all these type of connectors. So,
Mark, I think we get some questions about the Crimp Matrix, which seems to be interesting for many people, and they also missed some items, but I think it's only a first draft, and the Crimp Matrix is over more sizes, right?
Yes. This was just a screenshot from the Crimp Matrix, because it's too big to show everything here on the screen. When you download it later, it shows everything in a big sheet. So this is the reason why I show only a little piece of the Crimp Matrix.
Thanks very much.
So we go back to the presentation. Yeah, here again, the manual how to use the multi-crimp. You don't need an Allen key or screwdriver or something else to change the crimp dies. Important is that you use this switch here or this lever here to change the crimp profile. So very fast system, 80% of all crimp applications, 5 tools in one. So it depends which quality management we have behind your work. For example, some companies, they don't care about high quality, and here is possible that you can use this, I would say, simple, normal hand crimping pliers. We have 5 different models in our range. You see here article numbers, and for example, 9721-215 is for the insulated connectors, 0.5 to 6 square millimeter. And we have also versions like this here. This is here my favorite tool, the 9722-240. Here you can crimp the insulated connectors and the open plug connectors. Here, this is the crimp profile for the open plug connectors. And here on the front, the crimp profile for the insulated connectors. Yeah, you can cut, you can strip, and here you have holes to cut screws, but not the hard screws, not made of normal metal, screws which are used in electricians sector. For example, they're made of brass or copper, so soft material. So with this device, you cannot cut hard screw. Softer screws only possible brass or copper or something else. Okay, now we come to the end ferrules, sometimes called wire end ferrules. There are not insulated end ferrules, and twin end ferrules or double end ferrules. There are 3 different color codes on the market. There is a French color code, a German color code, and a color code to standard norm. And KNIPEX sells these end ferrules according to the DIN 46228. That means the 2.5 end ferrule is blue, and a 6 square millimeter end ferrule is yellow. Our end ferrules are UL listed and UL certificated. Also here, you will get this list here in the download area. Unfortunately, only in German. Here you will find all our article numbers and the measurement of the wire end ferrules and the technical informations. Again, all these end ferrules are UL approval. And these here are our automatic crimping pliers for the wire end ferrules. We have 4 different articles. The first is 975314. It's a side loading system, so you crimp the wire and the end ferrule from the side, and this has hexagon crimp and goes from 0.08 to 10 square millimeters. Then we have the version square crimp to 16 square millimeter, and a front crimp plier from 0.08 to 16 square millimeter. You crimp from the front, and the newest model is called twist drawer, also up to 16 square millimeter, and the head is 360 degrees rotable. Now the question is, which crimp form, why is the crimp form so important? Here you see some pictures of screw terminals, and for spring clamps, it depends which type of clamp you have. Sometimes it's better for smaller clamps that you use hexagon crimp, and sometimes it's better that you use a square crimp. As I said, it depends always on the clamp that you use. And last year we made a survey around our so-called clip experts. These are electricians, more than 200 all over the world, and we ask which crimp form do we use for wire end ferrules, and most end users use a square crimp, then a hexagon crimp, and then a trapezoid crimp. So if you use square crimp, from my opinion, you are always on the safe side. But please check what type of clamps you use. This here is an overview about our, I would say, normal hand tools for wire end ferrules with a trapezoid crimp. Of course, we can also crimp trim end ferrules. These are other crimp dies. And of course, we have also here normal hand tools without an integral lock. Timo.
Can we go back to the multi-crimp? We got some questions about the difference between the version 973301 and the 02. Okay,
I always mentioned here the 02 series or 02 article number. 02 has all these 5 different crimp dies. We have 2 crimp dies for the end ferrules, and the 01 has just 3 crimp dies, I think, for the insulated, non-insulated, and for the smaller wire end ferrules. So the 01, 973301 has just 3 crimp profiles, and the 02 has 5 crimp profiles. When you purchase the 01 and next, after a couple of months, you feel, oh shit, it's better to have this also the other crimp dies, you can purchase for the 01, of course, the missed crimp profiles for the 02. So these 5 crimp profiles you can purchase also separately, for example, if you lose or if you break a crimp profile. This is the difference between 01 and 02. So we come to the end. It's 10:50. Yeah, I show you here a comparison with a KNIPEX 975309 with a cheap tool, a cheap copy from, I don't know from where it comes. You see here, the 09 makes a homogeneous and I would say a normal and beautiful square crimp, and the cheap copy from I don't know where it comes. Yeah, it looks like, not like a square, it looks like a, I don't know, like a trumpet or something else. And you can imagine, now if you put this end ferrule into a smaller clamp, with this crimp profile, you can be sure it does not fit into the, into the clamp. And now again, I'll show you fast how it works. I have here the automatic crimping tool with the cycling system. Here we have a switch. This places here from 0.08 to 10. And if you crimp 2 times 6 or 16, you have to change it here in this direction. So the mouse opens a little bit more. Please do not crimp without a cable. So if you crimp, use always the cable. If not, then maybe you destroy the crimp profile. Very easy, put it in, crimp, and ready. This is the 4 square crimp. And I'll show you again the twist drawer. Twist drawer with the rotable head. Here you can crimp from the front and from the end, from the side.
Can you slow down a little, please?
Yes. Yes. So again, put it in, I press, and you see it works from the front and from the side. This here, I want to show, this is the cheap copy from, I think, don't know where it comes. And yeah, you see here the quality of the crimp profile, and maybe you heard it also. Yeah, it sounds very cheap and it crimps in a very, very bad way. So this is different between cheap crimp tools from eBay or something else and our professional tools from KNIPEX. So in principle, that was it from my side. I have just one other thing that I want to show you. KNIPEX does also offer crimping tools with a form and dwell crimp for turn contacts. These turn contacts are used in the automotive industry, rail traffic, medicine, aviation, aerospace, and so on and so on. And KNIPEX and Distrelec offers also tools for these current contacts. And our sister company, Wensteig, offers now, since this month, a new tool for the DT series. So if you crimp only DT connectors, you can use this crimp tools from Wensteig, which is very new, and it's also not on the Distrelec website. But I'm sure if you ask your distributor from Distrelec, your partner, then you can order and purchase this new crimp tool for the DT series from Wensteig. I hope you learned a little bit in this 45 minutes crimp webinar. And if you have further questions, please send us an email to pm@knipex.de. And thank you for your attention. Yes, I took a little bit more than 45 minutes. Thank you very much for your attention. Hope you learned something, and you will get, after the session here, another email with a download link for the informations. Thank you very much, and have a good day or night, depends on which country you are. Thank you and bye-bye.